God are the times that we need to go to a priest to ask him what God is saying, or sacrifice to hear God, or the time that we needed to read just the tablets where the Ten Commandments were found. We have readily accessibility to not just the Ten Commandments, but the Word of God. My question to you, when last did you specifically hear God? When last did God speak to you? You know, I was waiting for the story of the first time Samuel heard God. He was in Shiloh with Eli. Like many of us, because many people have told me, mostly last year, like, Lucy, God does not speak. Lucy, God is not speaking to me. And I asked them, do you know how God speaks to you? You see that? Do you know how God speaks to you? Let me give you something. As human beings, a human body, the body, let's talk about the body before we get to the spirit. When you're a baby, do you hear and differentiate voices? Can you speak? As the day one they give birth to you as a baby, can you speak? Can you see? Can you hear? Clearly. Think about it. So it's the same thing when it comes to the spirit. We are in levels. Some of you can be very tall than somebody. You can be going to church every day. It has nothing to do with spiritual growth. It's that time you study. Because even for a child to learn, you can, guess what? You can enforce things. You can train things right. Not everything as humans are inherited. We can train ourselves. Our brain can be trained to do things. That's why we go to school to learn some particular things. We go to school to go and acquire skills. So we can train our brain. So you can also train your spirit to hear God. That's just what I'm saying today. But importantly, you need to identify your Shiloh. You need to identify your Eli. Because God can speak to you, but for the first time, you may not be able to differentiate God speaking. You may think that it's someone familiar, or in the same house, or in the same room, speaking to you. So, after reading this and reflecting on the story of how Samuel heard God for the first time, he was in the house with Eli. Context: he was in the house with Eli. He was in the house with Eli, the priest at that time, who was also like his spiritual mentor, spiritual father. He had never heard God before this day. So, of course, he does not know God's voice. For those of us who have family members we're very close to, you know, like that people's voices that even when I'm sleeping, I know they're the ones speaking. I believe you also have people like that. The first time Samuel heard God, because he was in the house just with Eli, he was not familiar about God talking to him. So he assumed because he's in the house only with Eli, that it was Eli calling. So he went to him the first time when he heard the voice. Even the second time, he didn't clock in his head that it's not Eli. He went the second and third time. That's when Eli, because he's familiar hearing and talking to God, he clocked in his head that, okay, if this guy is getting a voice, then definitely it's God talking to him. And he had to tell him what to do to prepare the environment for God to speak. God can speak to you, but you may not be hearing. God can be speaking to you, but you don't have the discernment to differentiate his voice. And also you may be in an environment that a lot of other voices are talking to you. So one thing you can do different is make sure that you surround yourself with people that are hearing God.
You gotta hang around people that get it. You can't hang around people that don't get it. Then they start acting like you're doing too much. No. Hang around the people that get it.
And be in a place that God can speak to you, because you may be in Canaan when God wants you to be in Shiloh. And God may not be speaking to you in Shiloh just because you are not obeying. That is a big secret I realize. You have to be in the right place for God to speak to you continuously. So make sure you are in your Shiloh, and make sure you have your Eli around that can help you through the process once God starts speaking to you. Help you to navigate that season. One of the difficult things to do is to hear God when things are not moving the way you want. It's to hear God in difficult moments. It's to hear God also when a lot of people are talking, when there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of tension, a lot of friction. It's one of the most difficult things to do. And this happens not because God is not speaking in those moments, but this happens when we shift the attention from God and think that the situation or the people are more important, or the situation is more difficult for God to handle, and you focus on that situation, that is when, even though God may be